What's up, and welcome back to Rumor Has It Official. So let's get straight into talking about 90 Day Fiancé. This is season 6, episode 3, Rough Landings. So starting off, we have Jay and Ashley. So Jay has been approved for his visa, and while exploring Jamaica, Ashley suggests that Jay tries to see his dad before he leaves for the U.S. He calls his dad, and shortly after, his dad arrives, and one of the first things that he yells to his son is skins. And it just sounds really, really gross in my opinion. And they're both kind of calling each other that. So it's obvious that he's basically taught Jay all that he knows, and he's taught Jay to be a womanizer. Jay said that he doesn't want to be like his father, but better than him. And Jay also says his goodbyes to his family, and they land in Baltimore, Maryland. Jay notices very quickly how cold it is there, and a very dramatic Jay tells her to turn on the heat. And she thinks it's very, very funny, but you know, he is from Jamaica, so it's probably always nice there, always nice and warm. Ashley says she's worried about Jay adjusting in the U.S. because she lives in an all-white suburban area. So she's nervous to see how things will go. Moving on, we have Steven and Olga. So Steven makes it to Russia. His fear is getting lost while there. He takes a 7-hour train ride to connect with Olga, and he seems to really be excited to see her. 7 hours later, he makes it to his destination, and Olga is there to greet him, which was a surprise. He wasn't expecting her to be there to greet him once he got off of the train. Olga opens up that she loves Steven and they can relate to each other in their rough upbringing growing up. She also went into how she was basically in an orphanage, and I just thought that was really sad. And Steven is hoping that Olga's K-1 visa is approved, but plans to stay in Russia 2 months after the baby is born. They arrive to Olga's apartment, and she gives him a tour per his request, and he's just touching on everything. And then he says the size of her room is small, which I feel like, for somebody that's trying to make it on their own, they don't have anybody else to depend on, and for a long time it's just been her. So I feel like that the place is a nice size for her, just for one person. And he kind of almost talked as though he was coming there to live. He only plans to be there for a couple of months after the baby is born. So all of that extra complaining and criticizing her place, I don't feel like that was necessary. He brings some things for the baby, which I thought was thoughtful and good, which he should. And then later on, he finds out in Russia hospitals, men aren't allowed to be in the delivery room. She currently isn't even sure when she is due. So moving on, Steven and Olga, they need to buy more things for the arrival of the baby, so they go shopping. As they're shopping, Steven notices that Olga is picking up things without looking at the price tag, which is making him super nervous because he's just trying to make sure that he'll have enough money for his stay, plus enough money for when the baby comes if there's anything that they will need. Next, moving on to Eric and Leida. So in Philadelphia, Eric takes Leida's sister and son to sightsee. Eric tends to keep bringing up the fact that Leida's family is wealthy. I don't know if he's continuing to do that or if TLC is continuing to edit it that way. I'm not sure, but I'm starting to think, does he have money, or are they just using that as their storyline? I want you guys to comment below and tell me, do you think this is just for a storyline? Do you all think that Eric really does have money? And so Leida said that her sister is trying to stop her from moving to the U.S. with Eric. Her sister brings up the fact that he's paying for child support. Leida said if that gets in the way of her and her son living there, then it needs to stop, which I feel like she just needs to be quiet, because because if he's paying child support for his daughter, he needs to continue to pay child support for his daughter. Just because it's something you don't do in your country doesn't mean that it's wrong for him to do it. So I just think she needs a better understanding, and she doesn't quite understand how things work here. So Eric comes back with a cheesesteak for them all to share. And I was thinking to myself, like, dude, you can buy just 4 small cheesesteaks or buy 3 and Leida could have shared with her son. He's just really playing it this whole cheap thing. I don't know. He's playing it well though, because he bought that one cheesesteak and they were like, oh, you just one, you know, we got to share. And so basically they all kind of shared and broke off pieces of that cheesesteak. So moving on, today is the day that Leida's parents are coming, and they want to make sure that Eric is the right person for their daughter. So Leida says if her family knew that Eric doesn't have a lot of money, they would make her go back to Indonesia. Eric instantly, when he meets the family, he's showing off, putting Leida's son on his shoulders, and he wants to take the luggage off for her hands, all at the same time. I feel like he was just trying to do extra to just try to prove a point. And, you know, he's basically just trying to make a good impression. Moving on, we have Colt and Larissa. So we all know Larissa is not impressed with Vegas, but she says she was also worried when Colt told her that he lives with his mother. The whole stunt that his mom pulled with the fake tears, I'm so happy for you guys, and it was so fake. I mean, it was fake. With 2 seconds of her being there, Larissa made sure to point out the fact that she didn't like this and she didn't like that about the house. They tried to move forward by saying, you know, mother cooked a good dinner for you, it's beef stew, and Larissa, she wasn't trying to have that. Larissa was thinking more on the lines of steak, shrimp, some crab legs, anything but some doggone beef stew. She wasn't trying to have his mama's beef stew, which I wouldn't either, because when Colt was sitting there eating it at the table, it looked real nasty. I'm just telling you. It looks so nasty. Ooh, I wouldn't want to eat it either, Larissa. So I don't know what kind of relationship him and his mother have going on, but I'm concerned. Colt says that he had high hopes for his mother and Larissa meeting, but it didn't go the way that he planned. Colt's mother says that she didn't try to make an effort with her, and she just stood in the kitchen fake crying, and Colt was just sitting there eating that nasty looking stew. You know, he don't know what to do. Maybe he sees right through his mama, but I didn't see no tears coming down her face, so I felt like she was faking. And she just wanted attention because she knows things are about to change now that there's another woman in the house. So Larissa, on the other hand, she was in the room looking at the 4 walls, in the bed, just looking around. She's just probably thinking, what did I get myself into? Colt's mother said unless Larissa changes, there won't be a future for them there. The next day, Larissa tells Colt she doesn't like his cat because she's overweight and she didn't want her on the bed. And I would have been the same way. I wouldn't want any dog or cat on my bed, but that's just how he get down. He been single for a long time, so them cats and his mama have been his soulmate, have been his, I ain't gonna even go into that, but anyway. So Larissa decides to cook the next morning and has Colt invite his mother down for breakfast. His mother starts to tell her when she comes down that Colt doesn't eat bread, a lot of bread or something she was saying, you know, just trying to basically push her weight around. And their whole conversation at the table seemed to be more of his mother trying to remain in control, because she questions her son on what he wants for breakfast on the next day. So Larissa tried to express the importance of the right types of foods for breakfast and health, but they weren't trying to hear that. Next, let's move on to John, Nathan, and Fernanda. So Fernanda says that she feels bored with not being able to work, so she goes shopping with Dani. Now, you guys know how I feel about Dani. I feel like we need to keep our eyes out on Dani, because I think Dani secretly wants to be with Jonathan, or she has been with Jonathan, never like a commitment. You know, it was just the fact that they were the only 2 singles left in their group of friends. So it seems like when they go out to this little boutique or whatever to go shopping, it seems like Dani is asking a lot of questions, more to be nosy, not to really like get to know Fernanda, but she just kind of wants to know what's going on inside of their household. So Fernanda inquires about the relationships John has had before her. Dani says that Jonathan has expressed to her before even meeting Fernanda that he doesn't want to get married, and that really kind of hurt Fernanda. Now, Fernanda, I feel like where she messes up is she opens up to Dani about being hurt, finding a thong in his dresser, which I wish she didn't, because I don't think Dani could care one bit if they work out. In the next scene, Fernanda tries to unpack and get things situated in her new home, but she still misses home. She misses her family, her mother, and her siblings. So she FaceTimes her family, and her mom tells her that they've been sad and that they miss her a lot. And they both get very emotional discussing the fact that her family won't be able to come to their wedding. They're going to have their wedding closer to where it can accommodate more of Jonathan's family. But I kind of feel like there should be more of a compromise, being that she did give up everything to come there. Next, let's move on to Kalani and Asuelu. So Kalani is teaching him a few things like how to change a diaper. So moving on, her mom says that since the baby has been born, she's been at Kalani's condo every day. They start to discuss her family, and Kalani says that her dad is very scary and intimidating. And you can just really tell this girl's very timid when it comes to her father. I don't understand why I understand as a child, sometimes you have the fear, like if your parents tell you not to do something, you don't do it. But this girl's a grown tail woman, and she's still so, like, when her father comes around, she's got her body language, you know, she's got her head down and she's not even looking him in the face, and she just kind of shrinks up. You know, I don't understand where that's coming from. You should be able to have an adult conversation with your father and talk to him, and not be scared to really talk or express yourself. So I just felt like, you know, because she said that to him, that her dad is very scary and intimidating, I'm thinking to myself, what a way to make him feel comfortable. You know, like, this is just, it's crazy to me. So Asuelu gets very emotional, saying that, you know, he's trying his best and he came there to be with his family, but if they don't like him, he's going to go back to Samoa. So moving on, fast forward, Kalani's father and sister, they arrived to her Airbnb to have dinner and meet Asuelu for the first time. Asuelu was very respectful, and he greeted both of them. While at the dinner table, it's very quiet. So to break the silence, Asuelu says, you know, he wants to start off by apologizing for not coming to her parents first, and that he would try his best to take care of his little family. I mean, I feel like he was very genuine as he expressed himself, and her father replies, just don't disrespect my daughter and my family or we're gonna have issues. And I think that what he's trying to do is put fear in him, but I don't feel like in this case it's necessary. I also feel like Kalani is too timid and she needs to grow up and be a woman with a voice. Kalani's sister says that it's weird seeing Asuelu with the baby because she's been the dad. And everyone has to start somewhere. You know, I feel like they really need to get off his back. And this man, he's been crying, and just in my opinion, they're so wrong to treat him that way. I feel like they should just give him an opportunity to prove himself. That's all he can do, is just show them, and at least just be kind, you know. But I just feel like they're very, very rude, and I just really think it's messed up how they're treating him. So that pretty much ends my recap for 90 Day Fiancé. This is season 6, episode 3, Rough Landings. Comment down below and let me know what you guys thought about the episode and each one of these couples. Don't forget to like this video, share the video, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so that you don't miss another upload from Rumor Has It Official. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.